There's a lot of chatter online about plug-in solar, but there's also a lot of confusion on the TV and online about what the hell plug-in solar actually is and what it actually means. Is it legal now? Will it be legal? And where can you buy it from? Well, in today's video, we're going to be answering all those questions. In fact, you're going to be surprised that you'll be able to buy plug-in solar at your local supermarket by the middle aisle. Now, before getting any further in the video, I'm going to quickly tell you I am probably losing my voice, is why you can hear I'm a bit croaky at the moment. Now, if you want to see more about solar, batteries, heat pumps, even electric vehicles, then click subscribe, click that notification bell. I make regular videos on this channel. Now, if you don't want plug-in solar and you want a full solar system, go to evnick.com/heatable, where there's a code there where you get £150 off a heatable install when you use EVNIC 150. Plug-in solar is exactly what it sounds like. It's the ability to plug in solar directly to a standard domestic socket like this one. Now, what you'd be doing, this is the way it works, is you'd be buying a battery on wheels, so one that you could wheel around, relatively small, easy to carry battery that you could even take in your car or on holiday with you, and you buy that and then plug it in to your domestic 3-pin socket. Now, you could, if you wanted to, just charge that battery off the mains grid, off cheap overnight power like Octopus's Go or essentially any other tariff, and then you could discharge that power back from that battery back through a domestic socket like this. Or you could then add solar panels by a microinverter system into that separate battery system, which would then generate extra power that you wouldn't be buying from the grid and feed that into storing it into the battery, and then that could then push that back into this socket. Now, that's how it works, but what we want to know is when is it going to be sold, but also is it going to be safe, and how is it going to reduce our electricity bills? Now, there's a couple of ways these batteries on wheel systems work. So you can feed the solar panels directly into the battery systems and they will charge the batteries up, like I said, or then feed that energy back into the grid. The battery could be full, and then that could then feed the excess solar power back into the grid. Now, a lot of these battery systems actually have 3-pin plugs built into them, so you don't have to plug them directly into a socket like a plug-in solar system. You could just charge your solar panels into this battery, and a lot of these have plugs on already, so you could plug fridge, freezers and stuff like that and have essentially offline power in the case of a power cut or an emergency. So that is one way you can use a lot of these sort of plug-in battery systems. But the main way that most people are going to be reducing their bills is having them plugged directly into their 3-pin socket and generating that power that's then going to feed back into the grid through here. Now, that does have a lot of people worried, like electricians, IET, and various other sources, because there is some safety concerns, genuine safety concerns, about feeding power back into a socket that was only designed to put it out one way. So how safe is it feeding power directly into one of these sockets? Well, my friends at eFix, they've done a video actually doing a plug-in power system like this, a proper system, and they've tested it out theirs. Now, what they did test, which is the biggest concern for a lot of people, is what happens when you pull out that plug-in solar and try and touch the live pins. As they found out in their video, they're not live. If they don't detect any current on the other side, the pins on the other side become inert straight away. They're safe to touch. But there is other risks that are brought up by them and other concerns by lobby groups about feeding power back into stuff like this. And that is that a lot of homes in the UK have wiring and systems that are not really meant for bidirectional power. So this could be older RCDs, older sort of RCBOs and other parts of electrical equipment that weren't designed to take power both ways. This might result in them not tripping or not performing at the rate of tripping or safety rate that they are designed to do, because they weren't designed to take power both ways. Now, this is a valid concern brought up by many of people like that. There's also the issue of many circuits in the UK are ring circuits. So could pushing power back into a socket somewhere on the ring circuit cause an imbalance in that circuit? Again, these could be valid concerns. There's a lot more other things that was brought up by safety campaigns, but I think a lot of the other stuff is a little bit of fear-mongering. The stuff that I've just mentioned there is genuine concerns, but the thing is, what can be done to prevent these risks? Buying one of these systems could come included with a free voucher that includes a free electrical check. Now, I'd probably advise anyone who's putting feeding power back into the grid via their home, who's got relatively old or not new electrical wiring in their house, to have an electrical safety check before having plug-in solar. If you're in a new build or recently had a rewire by a competent electrician, I probably wouldn't worry about it. But if you are in an older home, or you've moved into a recent home but you don't trust, you don't know who's done the electrical work, I'd probably pay for electrical safety certificate myself just to have it just checked for my own well-being. But it could include a voucher with the system when you buy it that forces you to use that voucher before you plug the system in, and it becomes live powering the home. The problem is, for a lot of homes, this would be an added cost to buying the system that they wouldn't need, and competent schemes and vouchers could cause a hell of a lot more issues than they actually solve. So what's likely going to happen is the onus is going to be put on you, the homeowner, to make a competent decision whether or not that you think that electrical safety requirement for checks is required before you plug in solar. That will then happen is insurance companies will get wind of the risks and inherent problems that this might cause, and you'll probably see that one of the questions that when you go to have insurance, it will be, have you got plug-in solar? Have you got solar panels? And then maybe they'll make a risk assessment that you are required to have an electrical safety assessment carried out maybe every 5 years or 10 years to make sure that your system is safe to plug in these external systems. What we don't know is what is going to happen and how that's going to happen. What we do know is Ed Miliband said this system will be on sale for the general public to buy plug-in solar in the coming months. So how many panels can you have, and what kind of system generation can you get from these panels, and where can you put them? Well, again, back at my friends at eFix, they actually, like I said, fitted one of these systems themselves. Now, they used 800 watts of panels and they watered them down with some water butt systems and a railing system to put it in on a patio area. Now, this is often referred to as a balcony solar system. Over in Germany and places like that, they tend to have them on balconies, 2 or 3 panels on a balcony, on skyrise places. There's lots of options. So you could even, what I'm planning on possibly doing with one of these, is having a fence of solar panels that are plugged into the plug-in solar system. So you could basically put it anywhere. You could put it on your house roof, you could put it on a garden shed, but you are limited to how many panels you can put in and how much you can input, because there's 2 limits at risk here when it comes to plug-in solar. Now, I suggest that you go and watch that video from eFix. I've linked it down below in the description so you can find it very easily. Now, on their video, they had 800 watts of panels and they managed to generate roughly about 2 kilowatts of energy in a day. Now, you could add a few more panels, but you are limited to what the battery system by a 3-pin plug can actually feed back in. So there is a limit, obviously, of 13 amps of a standard socket, and we do think that plug-in solar is likely going to be limited to about 10 amps force feed in. There is obviously the ability to charge the battery first, so the batteries on wheels. You could basically have a larger battery, a larger solar system, and then this might be limited to 10 amps, but what the battery system with the microinverters is limited to would be another constraint. So there is two limits here at play that you can build your system to get a large system. But if you're still wanting a large full-size system rather than just reducing 2 kilowatts off your energy bill, which would save money, but if you're wanting a proper system that could power your heat pump, electric car, etc. like that, you're going to need a full-size proper Big Daddy system like me on my roof. You can go to evnick.com/heatable, where there's a link there to get £150 off using code EVNICK150, and that would allow you to have a full-size system with a full-size battery. This system would work for a lot of people who can't have full-size systems, may have complicated roofs, or you might just want to have some extra panels to your existing system. Now, despite all the concerns from a lot of people, especially electricians who are probably worried about losing a little bit of work, I actually think this will be a huge benefit to the solar industry. So what I suspect will happen is some people will buy plug-in solar and see a total reduction of their summer bills. Some people have very low usage rates. I've got a friend who uses 5 kilowatts a day, so generating 2 to 3 kilowatts a day from a plug-in solar system would pretty much wipe his bill out. I mean, that's exactly what plug-in solar is going to do. It's going to show people that solar systems work. What I think will happen is that people with existing systems may add a couple of panels to it, but majority of people who've already got proper systems won't even bother because they're already generating far more from their big system than they'll ever see from a small little system being generated, and also the mess of having a smaller system and finding a place to put a small system. The idea of a big system being on your roof is it's neat and tidy, you don't even know it's there. And also a lot of these batteries on wheel systems, again, they're very large and bulky, and they're not really meant to be wall mounted or anything like that. So again, you're going to have to find places for that. Now, for people who can't have solar or have complicated roofs, yes, it will work. But I think what we're going to see is those people who buy these systems from the local middle aisle of their local supermarket will go, wow, this solar system really works. And I think it's going to be a gateway into people buying full-size systems. I think we're going to see a bigger inrush of full-size systems after a few months of people having these plug-in solar systems, seeing how well they work, and then wanting to have more solar. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you think this is going to be a disaster for the industry? Do you think it's going to be possible fires or issues? I mean, I disagree, and maybe I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. Or do we think it's going to be the biggest uptake of solar panels that we've ever seen, even with the Iran war going on and solar sales going up? If you want to see my install, see this video here before I lose my voice, and if you want to see my solar playlist, then check out these videos right here.